Hello, I am Dr. Nichelle Henry, and I am so super excited about our conversation today. This is Nurse Sisters Connect. And before our beautiful guests come on, I want to talk a little bit about what Nurse Sisters Connect is. So, I had this vision where I wanted to start connecting nurses who desire to speak our truth, have a safe place for us to just start sharing our journey and how we started off in nursing, but then also give permission to other nurses to share their journey and how, they started in their nursing journey. So today I have, the beautiful guest, Miss Ashley, and she will be coming on shortly. And we will just be talking about her business and her journey in nursing and how I honestly believe as long as we collaborate, as long as we connect, it really builds up a sisterhood, a community of nurses that, need to tell their truth, nurses who need to be heard, inspired. So this Nurse Sisters Connect is so exciting. And what it is we're inspiring, we're igniting, and we're initiating great sister nurses in this platform. So I'm so super excited. I hope you've had a great week. We were on Friday. I hope you have been blessed. I hope you have had some wins this week. One of the wins that I've had, and I'll share my win. My win this week is that I'm really coming into myself. I'm coming into a place where I'm learning to, just connect with myself. And this is just such another platform that is so beautiful to be able to connect to myself and my true self in nursing. So we have Miss Ashley coming on, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. Hey, Ashley. Did it come on? So excited.
Hey,
Hello. Hey, beautiful. How are you?
I am good. I'm not going to tell you about that time that I locked myself out the house when I was supposed to be live.
Oh my goodness. That is the enemy trying to stop us. Are you in the home? You got back
No,
in?
I'm sitting outside.
That is perseverance.
It's terrible.
That
I'm
Oh
here
my
though.
goodness, I love it. That is so funny. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? We is not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get right in it, and I'm so honored by you still showing up because I'd have been like, listen, we gotta cancel. I'm sorry. Last minute, something happened. Before we go into you, you gotta tell how did you get locked out? Like
I've been running all morning. So a lot of people don't know this, but I take home care clients on like
okay.
PR every once in a while. So I had a patient this morning and she was talking. I love her so much. She was talking to me about her ex-husband and like just all of this stuff. So I sat there and I got enthralled in it. And I'm coming home. I'm like, all right, I got plenty of time, 15 minutes. I'm going to check in. I'll be, got time to change everything.
Oh
Girl,
my goodness.
no.
This is so beautiful. Okay, so tell us who you are and your nursing. Tell us who you are, dear.
Okay. So I'm Ashley, the owner of Cannabis Nursing Solutions. I educate nurses on cannabis medicine. I use evidence-based practice and help them to implement cannabis into their practice. And then I also help them to monetize the information so they can start their own business. So I do that through brand development.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. So we're definitely going to get into your business because I have some questions that I'm pretty sure someone in the audience may have. So we'll go right back to that. But
Okay.
I wrote my little note, child. Happy thoughts. I got my little notes together. This is a real interview, even though you locked out the house. So basically, I wanted to know how long have you been in nursing?
14 years.
14 years. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I just came on my 10th year anniversary this year, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've been a nurse for 10 years. So that is so beautiful. What areas did you specialize in?
So my expertise was like med surg, tele. So I'm one of those people that like, and I really just realized this. I'm one of those people that will do stuff and get just good enough and then do something else. Like I've done
Right.
med, I've done tele, I've done like women's area. I've done like, I mean, you name it, I've been there. I've been in the ED for a few months. I've been in IMC for a few months. I mean, I've done everything. I mean, all the way
Okay.
to corporate, all the way into quality. Like it doesn't matter. all of it.
Okay, so with that, I'm gonna come back to that, but I'm gonna ask you my next question, and it's gonna relate to what you just said.
Okay.
So, have you experienced nurse burned out? I felt unfulfilled as a nurse.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Can
why I
you
moved
share
so
your
much.
story?
That's why I moved so much. Like it
Okay.
always burned me out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think the first couple, like maybe the first 4 years or so as a nurse, I stayed in one area. You know, it felt safe. Like that's where I grew up at,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hard. Like to me, it was like we never had enough supplies, and this was before the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, like way before.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
like we didn't have like it was always something new popping up. You know, you didn't know what to expect. It was always like, you know, somebody beefing with somebody on the unit, somebody
Mm-hmm.
crying on the unit, a code here, a code there. Somebody was your best patient friend ever, and then they died the next day, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like it was too much. It was a lot. I didn't know what to expect. So yeah, I experienced nurse burnout, but I'll tell you this, it was the worst when I worked in corporate. So
Mm.
pressure of being able to perform and the way
Mm-hmm.
that they set up our roles. Essentially when I came in, they were like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to pay you this 6-figure salary, but we need
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that you save the hospital at least 7 times that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what? And so they would always tell us that in our head, and there was a lot of pressure. So we would get
Mm-hmm.
these projects where like you were supposed to save the hospital $1.4 million or $7 million, you know, however much. And you know, if you didn't hit that number, you pretty much
Mm-hmm.
failed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it. So
Yeah.
the reason why I asked you that is because in my experience, in my study of nurse burnout, that is the number one thing that a lot of nurses fail to do is try different areas. We get
Okay.
caught up in this one area, this one specialty, and then we base our whole nursing career on that one experience. If we have an organization that don't support us, we think all organizations don't support us. If we had a management team that was not, because I honestly believe that everyone could be a manager, but not everyone is a leader. When you have a manager that's not a leader, you feel like, okay, all leaders are that way. So I'm so excited to hear that you tried different areas because that was my story. I went to different areas. I started off in infectious disease, med surge. I went to trauma, and then I went to quality. Now I only did quality for 6 months because that was the policy at the time. I went over there and I was a performance improvement specialist.
Okay.
And the reason why I went into that is because I wanted to help out to make the organization better. I was a unit council junkie. I was all those things. So when I went to performance improvement specialist, I thought, oh, I'm going to be able to help the falls on the unit. I'm going to use evidence-based practice.
Yeah.
Nana in them over
Okay.
in the performance improvement specialist. I'm like, okay, when we going to the unit? No, baby, you're going to send an email. Okay, when we walking over there? No. It takes a year before you can see something happen. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it was not for me. The policy said I had to stay there 6 months. So I stayed there 6 months and then I quickly went into leadership. Now, I absolutely love leadership and
Okay.
I everything about it. And so what you're saying, I truly understand. It's a different kind of pressure. I don't
Yes.
know what we have going on with manufacturing hospital uniforms, but we just gonna keep it moving, okay? But
Okay.
we're gonna get a little shout out. But
Cheers.
it's a yeah, right. It's everything. It's so many things. So with that, it's a different kind of level of pressure. That's what I tell everyone. It's not the hands-on, it's more mental, it's more spiritual, it's emotional, it's all those things. So I definitely understand what you're saying about leadership. So I wanted to ask you, share your entrepreneurial story and what your company is all about.
That's a long answer that I'm going to make real short. So
Okay.
Cannabis Nursing Solutions started because I just wanted to be the solution for like your cannabis nursing needs. Like I knew there wasn't nothing out there um that did that, right? Like there's always
Yeah.
solution in every industry and different types of organizations and all those kind of things. And I'm like, well, I want to have a solution for that. I don't know what it's, but I'm gonna have a solution. So it came about because I told you I had that issue in corporate, and what happened was I was a victim of cyber theft, and
Wow.
the result of that, yeah, $15,000
I
gone.
am so sorry to hear that.
It was
Yeah.
like the house that I'm living in now. It was a down payment for that. We had been saving that for years, years, and it was gone in a matter of moments. But anyway, so when I had that experience, like, you know, obviously you're not going to be the same person you were before a whole 15 stacks is gone. So
Right.
like I was dealing with I guess the trauma of it, right? Being the
Mm-hmm.
victim. And when I would come to work, they'd be like, well, actually, you're not performing. You're not doing everything that you used to do. But
Oh
I
my
was
goodness.
like, I was suffering from depression. I was suffering from all these things, and my
Right.
emotions were like not in sync. They were out of whack. And
Mm-hmm.
so because of that, my performance based on them, even though I hit every deadline and I got proof of it, but
Right.
according to them, I wasn't performing. And you know, essentially my boss sat me down and was like, you know, you need to take a different job. We don't think this is a good fit for you. Anyway, back to
Wow.
for a part of it. So in that experience, I started looking for different ways to like rediscover myself, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
all throughout my nursing career, I was always working to build up to hitting some kind of goal, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, what's the next thing you can do? What's the next degree you can get? You know, how far can you
Right.
climb this ladder ever? And then here I am, I'm at the pinnacle, or, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
salary that I had always been dreaming of, and I still am not like feeling okay. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you do about it? You do shit that nobody else talks about, right? So
Right.
uh, I started looking into yoga, and like that
Mm-hmm.
was the first time that I even recognized that I had hips, right? Like paying attention to like the sensation of it, or like, you know, just being able to stand balanced and all these things. And through that experience, I also began to learn about the endocannabinoid system, which that's what equates to the cannabis part of things, where I was like,
Okay.
wait a minute, there's a whole endocannabinoid system, and I'm a nurse. And how have I been nursing and not know about this thing, right? So
Right.
it started off as a side hustle. I just was like, I want to tell people about it. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
started my training course. And when I started telling people about it, I wanted them to do something with it. So that's how I started the branding you the program. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's how it's been in a nutshell. Now, I said that real like simple. It has not been easy. I just want
Now, you know what? I'm sitting up here listening to you and I'm like, okay, sis. Okay, first of all, break that down. What system and because I'm feeling the same way. Like you feeling like, what is that? I've been a whole nurse. We just quoted our 14-year, 10-year experience. What is that?
girl, it's crazy. It's the whole master regulator system in our body. Every other system is connected to the endocannabinoid system. And the crazy,
Wow.
we have cannabinoids that are made within our body.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, okay, let me break it down a little bit more.
Help, like I know we got out that'll take all day, but just help because I'm lost. Sis, you got to sis lost.
So cannabinoid is like THC, right? So everybody be like, oh my
Okay.
God, it's so bad, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the cannabis plant has over 100 cannabinoids. THC is the one we're familiar with. CBD is another one. And then there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole other ones. Okay. Backing up to what I had just said, our body makes its own cannabinoids.
Okay.
So they're equivalent to THC. So when THC enters the body, essentially it's like replacing the cannabinoids that should already be there in your body. So for
Mm.
people, whether they overconsume or not, I mean, you know, that's neither here nor there. That's a choice. But if you use it intentionally and you put it in your body intentionally, a lot of times you're literally just replacing what should have already been there.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm gonna tell you, as soon as I saw cannabis nursing solutions, I automatically went to weed. I was like, this weed. That's exactly what my mind went at. I was like, okay, what weed nursing? How can we like?
Yeah. No, and this is the crazy thing. And this is
Mm-hmm.
why like I approach things like this. Like I'd rather have conversations
Right.
with people,
Mm-hmm.
because like a lot of times people don't understand what it is that I'm trying to educate them on. They're like, oh, well, you're trying to teach me how to just smoke it real good or get the butt. And it's like, no, that's not. I mean, we can talk about that too if you want to, but no, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Like,
Right.
as nurses, we
Mm-hmm.
do have a diligent responsibility
We do.
to be informed and educated about how we approach our patients, whether they choose to consume it or whether you like it or not, right?
Right.
And so having the awareness of the endocannabinoid system is a part of
Mm-hmm.
that. And having awareness of the plant itself is a part of that. And then the other piece of it is our nursing role and practice. We have the National Council for State Board,
Mm-hmm.
NCLEX people. They have guidelines for
Mm-hmm.
us,
Wow.
telling us
Yeah.
how to operate in our practice.
Mm-hmm. So you broke up a little bit towards the end. What were you saying about the practice? I heard the they had in the NCLEX board, but I couldn't hear the rest of it.
Oh, I was saying the National Council for State Boards, they
Mm-hmm.
have guidelines that define our role in our practice.
Right.
So there's already documentation of what we should be doing in relation to cannabis medicine, but it's not getting it's not getting pushed out there to the average lay nurse because hospitals don't want to deal with it.
Now, would this fall like under the holistic umbrella, or what would this fall like if you're talking
It
about Western medicine or?
it kind of does, but it doesn't because we have pharmaceuticals that also have cannabinoids in it.
Understood.
You see what I'm saying?
Understood. I do. I
Like,
do. This is very interesting. I love it.
yeah. So it's just it really is important for but going back to the point, like most people think, like I'm like, oh, teach people how to implement cannabis into their nursing practice.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really take all those words beyond the word cannabis.
Right.
You
Right.
see, and like so
I
it
do.
and that's part of the struggle that I've been dealing
Mm-hmm.
with, which is why I wrote the book Stigmatized, because
Mm-hmm.
one, we all can relate to the story of nurse burnout and like just some of the things that we like as nurses all experience. But I also
Right.
include just some other stigmas that exist because that's been the biggest barrier to entry for my business. Most people be like, I'm struggling with marketing. I'm struggling with I don't have a problem with marketing. I actually do a really good job at it. It's just a matter of whether or not
Right.
you're willing to hear it or not, you know?
I do. I do.
Uh, so yeah, it's definitely an interesting phenomenon. So that's why I wrote stigmatized because the stigma is real and it goes beyond the plant.
Mm-hmm.
So an example of that is like if you're a nurse, people assume you make money. If
Right.
you they assume that I don't know, you're a hero, or
Mm-hmm.
that like you feel like taking care of people all day every day or something like that. Like there are a lot of assumptions that go into the roles that we play,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that is stigma because
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like being a hero today. What God?
Exactly. We got to be real. We have to be real. So if I'm a nurse, because I always want to talk from the perspective of the audience, the nurses listening to this. If they wanted to reach out to you, how is your program, or what would you advise them to do? The first step they would do to, I know, contact you, but what would your next step in the process look like?
So right now, I think so it's a couple ways they can go. I do have a free ebook that kind of
Okay.
goes some of the ways that you can monetize. It's totally free.
Awesome.
Stigmatized is on Amazon, or you can get it at a discounted rate at stigmatizethebook.com. So
Okay.
low barrier to entry. You can learn about how and why and what I do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you were to want to take it a step further, you could take the training course, get the evidence-based information about it.
Mm-hmm.
And into that, like that person will be able to do a full-blown consultation with a patient, by the
Yeah,
time they finish.
absolutely.
So, and then it goes on, but I'll stop there.
I love it. I love it. So for your marketing and branding, I want to touch on that a little bit. Who are your clients? Is it just nursing, or and when you work with your clients that are patients, how does that process look for you?
So I don't as much work with patients anymore. So when I
Okay.
first it was more of a like everybody was kind of coming to me for information kind of thing, and I didn't realize I was
Mm-hmm.
in consultation, but I was. Um,
Right.
um, and so it wasn't until I started doing more like transitioning into the training course side of things where I made my
Mm-hmm.
healthcare professionals and nurses because I knew my voice would go further.
Right.
Um, the way that I do still consult with patients is through dispensaries. So I partner with dispensaries, and if their patients have questions, then they'll come to me.
Oh,
So I
that's
think
awesome. That's
I'm the third
awesome.
level of this defense. I don't have to go seeking patients out, that kind of thing.
That is
Um,
beautiful. That is so beautiful. And I'm so happy that you're talking about the top, because it is like that taboo conversation, because we automatically equip that cannabis to weed, but we have to realize that our day and age has changed. And now it's more considered a wellness, just like you said, pharmaceutical services have legalized it. And now it's more so of a more conversation of how is this helping, like you were talking about that system that I have never heard before. But even our nervous system. And I was talking to one of my clients, and we talked about how our generation is the most medicated generation. Where it's
Yeah.
mental illness, it's just we're the most medicated generation. So the reason why I brought up the subject of where would this line would it be like more holistic than Western medicine, because all we doing now is popping pills. We're popping pills. We're popping pills, and we all know that every pill, even as a nurse, it's that ethics, situation where you're like, okay, do I do this? Do I not? Because I'm giving you this pill, but there are side effects. There are going to
Yeah.
be side effects with this pill that's going to harm you, and even though it's working for this area, it's going to affect another area. It's just a given. So when you're talking about something that can help, nurses in their practice make, better recommendations for their patients, or even talking about learning it for ourselves for a better just wellness for ourselves, it's beautiful because just like you said, what is someone not doing? This is my first time hearing about this. So I feel like it's so informative for nurses who are watching this. And if they wanted to connect with you, I know you mentioned the ebook and link and connecting with you in the link. So please do that, because it is so helpful to see a different side of nursing or another avenue that we may not have heard of, because I never heard of it before.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. And that's true. You bring up a good point. Even there are a lot of nurses who are medicating with cannabis and are unaware of even how to help themselves because,
Right.
The topic is burnout. That is real. And it presents as a mental illness through anxiety, through, depression and all the other symptoms that nurses tend to have. Like nurses tend to be alcoholics. Why? Because we're stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of them smoke weed on the low. And I hear this all the time because of what I talk about. They smoke weed on the low and they're so stressed out, but they can't tell nobody because they're scared they're going to lose their license. So just living
Absolutely.
that double life is another like issue of the stigma that exists.
This has been so beautiful, so beautiful. So I know we still waiting for you to get back in your home. Anything else that you would like to share with sisters that may be watching this? Any, last word of advice or anything that you have for them?
I think for the most part, I think usually I end off with just understanding that cannabis is medicine. And even if you don't want to give me money to do whatever with you, definitely do your due diligence and
Right.
understand it as being medicine. There's research than ever before in our medical journals. I believe in 2000, I'm not going to say the number because I don't remember the exact number, but there is double digits in the early 2000s, and we're up into the triple digits, close to 1,000 published articles about cannabis medicine. Now, there may not all be, what do they call it? A Schedule 1, not a Schedule 1. What's the top tier? Randomized controlled trial study. Now, but if you pay enough attention to the anecdotal evidence, you'll know that cannabis truly is medicine for a lot of people. It's just being misused.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this has been so good. I'm so excited for you. I'm so thankful that we had this time to talk, and I definitely will make sure that I post this and that you repost it on your wall as well, as if you desire to, or to your audience. But I definitely want to say thank you so much for giving us a different perspective of another avenue in nursing to add to our practice, and to also be that example that is willing to help another nurse sister if she's looking for something different, something to enhance her profession. So I'm just so excited to talk with you today about this topic. Please reach out to Miss Ashley for more information regarding Cannabis Nursing Solutions. And I thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. This was
No
fun.
problem. It was. It was. You got to make sure you update me about getting in the house.
I will.
All right. You have a good one, dear.
You too. Take care.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
I will see you all next Friday.